Hey, what are you talking
Thanks
about?
for tuning in to High and Faith.
It makes me wonder. One of my favorite things. One of my favorite things is doing that. The thumbnail. That thumbnail's awesome.
I know. You like to stick out your tongue.
That thumbnail rules. You gotta admit that's funny. Find different ways of going. Woo!
No matter what picture we do, he always sticks out his tongue.
I didn't stick out my tongue on that one.
Oh wow, that's
that one. Well, next one I will stick on my next thumbnail.
Every time.
Next thumbnail I will stick on my tongue. I'll be like, hey, morning to the person watching. Morning to you.
Good morning. You gonna start the other one?
Yeah, I already started. It just came on.
Okay. They're running a little slow.
We run on 3 platforms: Facebook, YouTube, and some pod thing.
Everything else on my podcast is on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify,
Hiccups,
Speaker,
Hiccups,
Podbeam,
Hiccups,
everything.
Hiccups.
They're on the low.
It's on Google Podcasts, it's on Apple Podcasts,
download.
it's on everything. Yeah.
They're on the low.
We're on the down low. Look at this one, barely can see my face. Look at where you're sitting. Look at, we just get door, man. We get your leg and half of me. Because look at me on this red one.
So that means you.
And then on this one, you know, we only get your leg. Do you see this?
Well, I want more of John. How the hell do I do that?
You got to tell John to move over.
John, move over. See if we can.
This only reaches so far.
That's why I say pull closer.
Look at that!
Oh, they're seeing you. Now they see my leg.
Yeah, but because this got to go over your way a little bit more. We are adjusting cameras. Not that way. That was not smart. Now we broke it. Great job, John. Plug in the cord instead of just moving the computer, John. Nothing made me drop my Bible.
Oh, there we go.
All right, so we're having technical difficulties right now because somebody's throwing stuff around. Woo!
It
is not me.
Look at this. No, look at it. You can never get this fixed. Either have me or have John, so that works.
Well, because John moves over here on the edge of the couch.
Everyone can see us both on Facebook.
Look at a pregnant wife in the background. It's pretty funny.
She looks knocked up.
I'm due any day now, though.
May 10th, Mother's Day.
Yeah.
So, morning, everybody. How you doing today? We're going to go Matthew chapter 20 today.
I thought it was 21.
No, 20.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
20.
Oh, no, because we didn't finish up yet.
We did 21, to be honest with you.
There's some that we forgot.
We did 21 on
No, we did
Sunday.
not. We did not do 21.
Yeah, we did on some
No,
Sunday.
I'm telling you that we did not. We only read the
little piece.
Okay, well, I'll check it.
Good morning.
Morning.
You're on live. Okay. I have a question. Come here. Here.
Yes. All right. So we are on Matthew chapter 20. All right. And we'll pray ourselves in. We'll get started on this monster.
I think that we forgot.
What?
Okay, no, we did read it. Okay. We are on 20. I just had an issue. Don't go there.
Obviously, she married me. She has issues. And you know?
Yeah, but I love you unconditionally.
We'll pray us in. Dear Lord, thank you for this amazing day that you have today. Thank you for letting us be able to do this Bible study online. Thank you for the amazing people watching this, Lord. Please open our hearts, Lord. Open our hearts. Let us take what you have for us today and let us put it in our hearts so we can grow from it, Lord. So we can be more of a light for you, Lord. Be with everybody watching this and their families. And be with us and our families and protect us from this virus that's going around, Lord. And help us in our homes, you know. Bring joy in our homes and help with just being in this house and being quarantined. Help us through this, Lord. You are the foundation. You have it all under control. We just got to put our faith in you. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 You guys need to.
You need shoes, don't you?
Eat some breakfast first would be a good idea.
Yeah, you need shoes. All right, anyway.
No, they don't need shoes. They need to eat breakfast.
All right, so hey, here we go. We're gonna start reading this.
Read it.
Mine says
Okay.
the parable of the workers in the vineyard.
Mine does too.
For the kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out early in the morning to hire men to work in his vineyard. He agreed to pay them a denarius for the day and sent them into his vineyard. About the third hour, he went out and saw others standing in the marketplace doing nothing. He told them, "You also go work in my vineyard, and I will pay you whatever is right." So they went. He went out again at about the 6th hour and the 9th hour and did the same thing. About the 11th hour, he went out and found still others standing around. He asked them, "Why have you been standing there all day doing nothing?" "Because no one's hired us," they answered. He said then to them, "You also go work in my vineyard." When evening came, the owner of the vineyard said to his foreman, "Call all the workers in and pay them their wages, beginning with the last ones hired and going to the on to the first." The workers who were hired about the 11th hour came and each received a denarius. So when those who were hired first, they were expecting to receive more. Each of them also received a denarius. When they received it, they began to grumble against the landowner. "These men who you hired last worked only 1 hour," they said, "and you have made them equal to us, who have borne the burden of the work in the heat of the day." But he answered them, "Friend, I am not being unfair to you. Didn't you agree to work for a denarius? Take your pay and go. I want to give the man who was hired last the same as I gave you. Don't I have the right to do that? Do what I want with my own money? Or are you envious because I am generous? So the last will become first and the first will become last." Oh, crazy parable. Okay, so you guys want to explain this to me? Because
Well,
I got you.
Okay, go ahead, John.
Oh wait, no, she's got you.
No, go ahead.
if I read this, I'm like, what? This don't make no sense.
It does in a way, but let John go first.
But
Okay, so you look at everyone's journey in the walking. Everyone walking in God and becoming servants of God. And we all have the one gift that is said to all of us is eternal life. In the same way, it doesn't matter when you start your journey or when you become a servant. It's when it's that he will still reward us equal amount in heaven. All, and this is what it's saying: is anyone who's become, it doesn't matter at what time that they came to work for him, for their vineyard, and in the way it says it's the kingdom. If you work for their vineyard in the same way, you get the same pay, and in each denarius, as the one who was told, the other person will get the same denarius, and the denarius in this way is eternal life. When you look at it, the kingdom of heaven.
so what do you think?
He just said exactly what I was thinking. That's why I wanted him to go first, because I didn't want to steal his thunder.
Yeah, but he pretty much just stole the thunder out of everything, though.
Well,
So let me ask
he
you this
summed it up
question.
perfectly.
So let me ask you this question. All right. Why do people get upset then? Let me explain this to you, okay?
Yeah.
All right. I hear this many times at a Bible study. When somebody gets in a car accident and dies, how do you know they went to heaven?
You don't.
Did they accept? Did they accept Jesus right before they died?
We don't know that, right?
Nope. The only one that's going to know that is God himself.
So, how you take a murderer that gets in a car accident and dies? How do we know that they didn't go to heaven?
We don't.
The only thing we have to do is believe that they saved themselves right before they died.
Why do people get so angry with the concept of somebody dying instantly and can accept God and go to heaven?
Because they didn't read this parable.
Yeah, it's saying that.
I mean, I've heard people say also, I mean, which is foolish no matter how you look at it. Both sides of the coin is foolish, like what you just said and what I'm going to say. There's people saying, I'm going to go and live life to the fullest, and right before I die, I'll ask God to save me. No, ask him ahead of time so you can live a good life and follow in his footsteps, and get to know Jesus.
So let's take it a different round now. Honest. All right? Say something really comes up important in church that you've been trying to start. Get going. Say it's like a Bible study. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Bible studies, you're trying to get a Bible study started, and then all of a sudden the church puts somebody else in charge of that Bible study.
And it hurts your feelings?
Why is that?
Because we're not understanding at that time that maybe God has different plans for you and thinks that that person should be getting that chance to do it. Maybe they need to have that chance where you are meant to do something else and we just don't see it.
It's a tough concept
It
to
is.
grab.
Oh, it is, because I've had it happen before, and it bothers me to no end. And then you look at it and you're like, oh, well, that person needed to be there in that spot more than I did.
And basically what
it took a while, but I did come to that point.
Basically what it breaks down to on it is we
God
worry
has
about
other plans.
what?
I said God has other plans.
I agree. I agree with everything you said here on it. But this breaks it down a little bit more. Basically what happens here is we worry too much about what God's doing in other people's life than worrying about what God's doing in ours.
Mm-hmm.
These workers were worried about how much these other people God was paying instead of worrying about what they're doing. They're too much worried about what they're doing over there.
Yeah.
Some people look at this parable and say, well, they only worked an hour. I worked all day. That ain't fair.
Yeah. But
if you take it on the work side, this parable is crazy.
Yeah, okay, if you look at that side, but those other people had to stand there all day in the hot sun waiting to maybe get a chance to work. So they still spent their whole day there, whether they worked or not. And he didn't say that he was going to pay you different no matter what time you started. He said, if you work for me, I'm going to pay you 1 denaro. Sassy, leave her alone.
So do you get a favorite line out of this scripture, out of this parable? There's something I really like on it. Favorite line.
Well, there's a little more than just one line.
What's that? Yeah.
Okay, so he asked them, why have you been standing here all day doing nothing? They answered, because no one has hired us. Okay, well, that's like God saying, why aren't you believing in me all day? And you're just standing there.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, because nobody's told us about you.
I like it.
But in the truth, they've been there all day seeing everything.
Yeah, I like that. I like that point. All right, where's that? Let's read that one.
That's number 6. Well, the end of 6 and 7.
About the 11th, I already went out and found others standing around. He asked them, "Why have you been standing around here all day?" Ask yourself that question. Why have you been standing around there all day? Because no one hired us to answer. There's work in my vineyard. Go work it. That's what he replies. That's pretty awesome. I never thought of that until you brought it up. That's pretty awesome on it. You got a favorite line on that?
16.
16. I take out you're making me read it too, huh?
16. So last will be first, and the first will be last.
Said a lot, ain't it?
Yeah.
Said a lot.
And that one there is showing pretty much that doesn't matter if you come to me last or whatever, you're still coming to me.
Mine's 14 and 15.
Okay.
Take your pay. Oh, you want to read it? Go ahead.
No, I was just finding it. Go ahead.
Take your pay and go. I want to give the man who was hired last the same as I gave the first. Don't I have the right to do what I want with my own money?
Okay.
Or are you envious because I'm generous? We always try to play God. We always try to take what is God's and try to do it. We try to judge people. We try to put our intake on it and not let God speak to us. Like God speak out of us. We always put our spin on it. We put ourselves in front of God. We're self-righteous. And this is God saying, whoa, I control everything. I have the right, not you. And we need to be reminded of that.
I'm going to scroll to see if anybody's... We do ask for comments and stuff. And...
I haven't been asking for comments yet either.
Well, I know, but if they watch any other day, they know.
Nope, nobody.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of times we take it out of God. We take the control out of God's hands. And we try to put it in our spin.
We do.
Are you ready for some questions?
Sure.
Do you ever get flustered that life isn't just fair?
Yes.
This is one of many parables that Jesus told about God's kingdom. We learn from this parable that the God's grace and mercy transcends on all humans' ideas or fairness.
See, and I've read this parable before and never pulled out what I pulled out today.
Yeah,
I mean, I read it a few times over because it's a parable in church. You read a lot of parables.
Now, if you really think about this, you think about the way this parable sounds. This question: if you were one of the first workers hired, how would you react to the landowner?
Well, if you look at it job-wise, what upset you?
This is a hospital. Hello? No.
Let me see.
Oh, wait. Hold on. I'm not used to people. Hello? Are you still there? Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not used to people calling Jared. I'm sorry. This is his friend.
We'll be right back in a couple minutes here. It's not for him, so he'll be just a second. But, so on the whole feeling of if you were hired first and someone getting hired last, if it was talking actual job-wise, yeah, that upsets you. Because you're like, well, I worked here longer and everything, I'm getting paid the same as this person?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah.
If you look at it job-wise and stuff, yeah, that brings anchor and stuff into it, though. I mean, with all due rights at a job, I mean, I've been at jobs before where I was shift manager, so high up there on rank wise, and still having people that
Dark, you are.
still having people that I'm in charge
You're
of
like Mr. Wilson
try to tell me
right
what
now,
to do
peeking over the top.
because they were older than me and or been there longer. I've had people that I've been in charge of that have been there longer, and you still have to. So it's hard.
When you get probably a hippo behind you.
From an employee's viewpoint, how would you react to this situation?
Well, you've got
Jay?
like as an employee, that's where you got to come to realization that you have agreed upon your payment also.
But also as the employee, if you're getting paid the same as someone that just comes on.
No.
Oh.
Employer.
Oh, well, he said employee.
Well, I meant employer. From the employer.
Oh, my bad.
Okay, from the employer's point of view, well, it depends. I mean, are you paying them all the same? Do the same work, same type of work, but different amount of work.
Hey, Kevin.
Morning, Kevin.
We're at Matthew chapter 20 right now. Read the parable of the vineyard.
So then, if you're looking at it from the employee's point of view, you're like, well, I just saved a bunch of money because I could have been paying you to work longer, more than what I just paid them. I mean, you just look like, but then at the same time, you could have saved same amount of money by not hiring those people knowing they were only going to be there for like an hour. I mean, so that one's kind of.
I like looking at this parable in kind of a different way. I like to look at it as a arcade game. You know, hey, you take this quarter, you play this, and you have these lines of kids. On how many times will the one person get to the same spot as the other person get to the same spot? And in a way, one person can start the game and end the game as soon as they start the game.
Yeah. I don't know what game it is, too.
Well, different way of looking at it, huh?
Yeah.
You know, that the arcade game is a quarter to play.
And you play until you die.
And everyone gets that one quarter to play.
Yeah.
What's this parable say about the kingdom of God?
That as long as you come to me, you're able to, as long as you're believing in me and come to me, then you're able to get into heaven. Doesn't matter if you come first or last. I'm going to take you in.
The kingdom of heaven is equal.
Yeah.
Also, because it's not like, in heaven, it's saying that in heaven you're not going to have like an equal right to everyone. Everyone's going to be placed in the same
position.
Realm being.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's a good question.
Yeah, since you don't ever answer any of them, me and John do.
Wow.
Throw you under the bus. Why not? I like doing that.
What do you consider God working on right now? What do you consider you're doing for God right now? Do you ever get jealous of what somebody else is doing?
Doing for God or doing outside of God's work?
Do you ever get jealous of what God is doing in somebody else's life than what He's doing in yours?
Yes. Because there's been things that I thought that I was supposed to be doing, and then God has them doing it instead, and I'm like, but that's what I wanted to do. And it just wasn't God want me to do that.
Do you ever lust, or do you ever wish that you were doing what other believers doing in their journey?
Yes, I just said that.
I don't believe so.
I give a good example out there. We have amazing friends. They're really an older set of couple, and they're out doing disaster relief. They're out there building churches and going to places where, tornadoes hits and everything. And immediately when they walk into the church, everybody just assumes and goes right to them.
Bless you, John.
And they always say, you know what, I wish we were doing what you were doing on it and stuff. We wish that we were out doing disaster relief and stuff like that. It's the same concept when somebody goes to another country and to do God's work. They come back, people run right up to them. Oh, wow, I wish we were to that. We went to did that on it. You know what I'm saying?
But then,
do we ever get, just envy people of what they've done, what God's doing in their life and on it? And we not look what God's doing in our life as important.
I look at it as that God has a plan for each one of us, and that plan is like His own plan for you, and the way of what you're doing for Him is the same as what they're doing for Him. If people get saved from their work, and people get saved from your work, He rejoices as much as the person that gets saved there and the person that gets saved there.
Well, it's like I told a friend of mine, that is basically a janitor. He cleans floors, and he's like, I don't feel God at purpose in me cleaning this floor. And it's the same concept about what we do for God. And He cleans this floor so this grocery store can open. People can get food, and He cleans the floor to keep people safe. There's nothing slippery on it and stuff. But He keeps that grocery store open. Without that, they accumulate. They eventually shut down. But it's the same concept. What we do in the world, what we do in our walk, we have to take pride of. We actually have to feel that God's leading us to do it. The smallest thing matters. We bring God into our workplace. It's just like Him. He talks to 4 people that He works with every day. I go, do you believe that they're believers? No. Well, maybe God puts you there to make them start witnessing to Him and stuff. I go, not only that, you probably talk to the people that work at the grocery store too, the cashiers and stuff like that. Yeah. Maybe you're put there to do that. You got to put God in your place. God will come wherever you are. You have to choose to let God consume the place, be the foundation of it. It can happen at your workplace too.
well, even though like we both work at the food pantry, and we both have different positions there that we do. Like yours, you normally run the back room area. I'm wherever right now because I can't do as much, but
Looks like Jay got a transformer.
oh no. But I can't do as much because I'm pregnant, and everybody else is like, "Oh, let me do it for you," which is nice, but not nice because then you feel like at times, well, I could have helped that person, and I could have talked to them about God. Where how do I know if they didn't talk to that person about God?
Yeah.
So even in the same work environment, you can still feel that.
Comparing your energy level and attitude about life to this parable. What?
Nothing.
Are you not done?
No, I was done.
Okay. I'm sorry. Comparing your energy level and attitude about life to this parable. What time is it in your life right now? Here's your choice. 6 a.m. I'm raring to go. That's definitely,
I don't even look
9
off the bed at 6
9 a.m. I'm feeling productive. Noon, I'm ready for a break. 5 p.m. help. I am out of gas. 6 p.m. I feel satisfied with what I accomplished and I can go home.
Noon, I need a break.
I was gonna say 6 a.m. I'm not even out of bed thinking about anything. I'm sleeping. 9 a.m. I'm thinking about maybe getting out of bed.
So where do you feel
I'm
you're in
on
life?
fire. That's where I
Oh,
am.
in life?
So
Well, I
there's
don't need a
nothing-
break, but I don't. But I'm still on fire. But I don't know. That one's kind of different.
All right, Kevin's. Yes, we all have a purpose in what God wants to do with us. No matter how small we might think it is. Yes, I agree 100%. I agree.
Very true.
I agree 100%.
But sometimes we don't see it.
Giving a hug to that child is working for God.
We should ask this every Bible study. I like this question. How can this Bible study support you in prayer this week? We should ask people what we prayed for before.
We should.
At the end of this, we should. You need
But
to
we
step
don't-
up your game. That's what it's
Or in
saying.
the beginning, start commenting and we'll look through it towards the end.
But also, the other thing is, like 3 weeks ago or so, we posted on there asking a question. We never even brought it back to get answers. So
Yeah, I
we put it
forget.
up there all day long. We forget to ask.
So this is what I'm going to do. Okay, Kevin? Kevin, I know you're watching, my friend.
Start beating him with a stick.
When quarantine ends and we go back to Bible study, remind me to say this. We should, at the end, say, hey, you know what? How can this Bible study help us during the week? How can we pray so it helps each other? Some of them that we need. I like that. I like that. I mean, we always ask.
Wait until then.
We always ask for prayers, right? We always ask for prayers. Hey, anybody got prayers? But I'm saying,
Yep.
what can this Bible say? Pray for you this week to help you with this week.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's pretty cool.
That's a good one. So that finishes up that parable. And like I tell everybody before, if you guys are watching this,
You can go
please
to us.
comment. Please give us our feedback. Help us grow and stuff.
Oh, it looks
You
like
know?
it's Laura.
We're going to go on to the next part of one of these. Either Ange or John's going to read because I read that one. 17.
Yeah, it was cool. I'm here. I got it. Okay. It says Jesus predicts his death a third time. Now Jesus was going up to Jerusalem. On the way, he took the 12 aside and said to them, "We are going up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man will be delivered over." Excuse me again. Delivered over to the chief priests and gotta use my finger, and the teachers of the law. They will condemn him to death and will hand him over to the Gentiles to be mocked and flogged and crucified. On the third day, he will be raised to life.
Pretty cool, huh? Jesus.
Kinda, but
What?
I mean, he predicts it. Yeah, again.
And Kevin says, okay, I'm going to remember. Yes.
Someone's got to, because he ain't gonna remember after today.
But, go ahead. You said
No.
kind of. And
Because, I mean, he predicts it again, but this time, like, boom, this is what's happening. And more other ones where he's predicted it, he's given like a more of a parable, more of a speech to it. But this one's just cut and dry.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like this Bible because you want to know why I like it so much? It's
Why?
because there's things in here. How the heck would you predict this in the future? They condemned him to death, and they will turn over him to the Gentiles. He was turned over, right, to be mocked. They put the crown on his head. They were laughing on him. They were spitting on him. They were punching him. Right? How can you predict that? And he was flogged. He was whipped with the bones. And he was crucified on it. That don't happen. Either you're crucified or you're flogged. You don't get both. And he's predicting this. And on the third day, he arrives to life. Craziness. Just out of that two sentences right there. How could somebody deny that this was prophecy out of them two things? It's crazy. You want to keep going?
Yeah. Oh, me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I finished that one. That's what I asked. A mother's request is my next one. Then the mother of Zebedee's
Yep.
sons came to Jesus with her sons, and kneeling down, asked a favor of him. What is it you want? He asked. She said, grant that one of these two sons of mine may sit at your right and the other at your left in your kingdom. You don't know what you are asking, Jesus said to them. Can you drink the cup I am going to drink? We can, they answered. Jesus said to them, you will indeed drink from my cup, but to sit at my right or left is not for me to grant. These places belong to those for whom they have been prepared by my Father. When the 10 heard about this, they were indignant with the two brothers. Jesus called them together and said, you know that the rules of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you instead. Whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be your slave, just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many.
This is a pretty crazy thing on it. And it's a very hard concept to get. You know, I'll walk around town all the time and I'll ask people, do they know Jesus? Do they know the Lord? A lot of people's going to say, yeah, I know Jesus. You ask them if they're going to go to heaven. Yeah, I'm going to go to heaven because I'm a good person. Everybody thinks they're a good person. They on it and stuff. We get this concept that we're good, a good person, we're good enough to go to heaven. On it.
But God never said that.
God never says that. God does not. God says, if you believe in me and you have faith in me, repent, turn from your ways, and follow me, and you get to come into heaven. So, the reason why I bring this back up is what jumps out to you at the statement? What's the one thing that hits you?
That the right and the left is not for me to grant, but these places to whom they have been prepared by my Father. I wonder who's going to be sitting at the right and the left.
A lot of people got a lot of ideas on who's the right and the left. You research it.
My idea is
Pretty good study.
or the two that have been brought to him.
What's the thing that sticks you out?
I'm writing.
She's reading.
What sticks out for you?
Okay, well, Here we go. So Jesus tells them that the right and left is not mine for granted, it's the Father's. Alright. But here you go, right here. You don't know what you're asking. Jesus said to them, can you drink the cup that I'm going to drink? Jesus asks us this.
Before he even drinks the cup.
Can you drink the cup that I'm going to drink? You want to walk with me? Can you drink the cup that I want to drink?
Can you do what I'm going to be doing? Pretty much. Can you get beat? Can you get all this stuff done to you?
I was thinking like the wine and is represented like in communion as his blood, at the last supper of the. This will be the last time I drink this drink. My drink.
See, I take that one like, can you handle getting ridiculed and beat and stabbed and whipped and put on the cross and hung on that cross? Can you handle all that? These guys are like, yeah, not even knowing what he's talking about.
Think about what Jesus said before. The world's going to hate you because it's hated me first.
Mm-hmm.
The world's going to totally disregard you because they done that to me first. Can you drink the cup that Jesus drinks? These people immediately said, we can.
Yeah, without even knowing what was in that cup.
We can. What happened following Jesus leads you to a divorce because your spouse won't live with you because you want to do good in your life. What happens if you lose your job because you want to follow Jesus and do good in your job? Be a light at your job. And this is where we fall short a lot. And whether people want to hear it now or not, we're supposed to be a light in church. If we are followers of Jesus, we're supposed to encourage people. We're supposed to be witnessing people. There's people in churches right now sitting in pews that are just dying for somebody to talk to them, to tell them about, God and what's overcome and stuff like that. And yet we always stick in the same group. Where'd Jesus go? When he walked all over the place. He went to the temple, he went all over the place. He crossed the lake just for that one person. The demon-possessed man, Legion, healed him and then left. How much sacrifice do we give? Jesus says, can you drink out of the cup that I drink? And immediately people raise their hand and says, we can. It's the same thing of walking out on the street. You walk everywhere, even in churches and stuff like that, everywhere. Everywhere you go. You know Jesus? Yes. I know Jesus. You going to heaven? Yes. I'm going to heaven. Have you read the Bible? No. Have you been saved? Yes. Do you have a relationship with Jesus? What is that? It's seriously, we have to examine our walk and stuff because it's not a bed of roses. Jesus said to them, you will indeed drink from the cup, but you will not set the right from regret, because that's not for me to grant. When the 10 heard about this, they were indignant against the brothers, because they wanted to probably get higher than them. I imagine. Jesus called them together and said, you know that the rulers of the Gentile lords it over them, and the high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. It's that whoever wants to become whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. You want to walk with Jesus? And this keeps going. And whoever wants to be first must be a slave.
Yeah, that's, well, not that one, but coming up is the one that stuck out for me.
Just as Jesus, Son of Man, did. He did. Not to be served, but to serve. And give his life as a reason for many.
Ransom.
Yeah, ransom for many.
So it says right there, Jesus went and did this already, and he walked amongst us and he served us first.
You take this concept right here, of what God's done, and he asks, can you drink from my cup? Can you be a servant? Can you be a slave? Can you, take that in a relationship, your wife and stuff like that. God says you love me, you love your wife or your spouse as much as you love me.
Callie, close out.
God says the greatest thing to be is not a teacher, not a preacher, but a servant. Do we serve?
Callie, get down from there. Thank you.
Do we serve in our families? This is a pretty big thing. Big. Well, John, next step is yours, my friend.
Here we go.
2 blind men receive sight.
Mine says Jesus heals 2 blind beggars.
Okay.
As Jesus and his disciples were leaving Jericho, a large crowd followed him. 2 blind men were sitting by the roadside, and when they heard that Jesus was going by, they shouted, "Lord, Son of David, have mercy on us." The crowd rebuked them and told them to be quiet, but they shouted all the louder, "Lord, Son of David, have mercy on us." Jesus stopped and called them. "What do you want me to do for you?" he asked. "Lord," they answered, "we want our sight." Jesus had compassion on them and touched their eyes. Immediately they received their sight and followed him.
Praise the Lord. Well, it's a pretty amazing story because it actually hits home today. Probably should see if I can scroll down here on it because I was just talking to somebody this morning about this on it. What's this story mean to you? What are you guys pulling for that?
Well, that even though these guys couldn't see, they still knew God was there. And that even though others were telling them, be quiet and, all that stuff, they still went to the Lord. And the Lord then seeing their faith or whatever, without even saying that he's seen their faith, and healed them.
You got something that you pulled from it?
They followed him.
Yeah.
As soon as they were healed, they followed him. Saw him, followed him.
So I was talking to a person this morning. On it. That this person has had so much going on in her life that on it, and it just keeps coming back. I ain't gonna use this thing on it, but what it is, and she says she gives it to God. She prays on it and stuff. And the thing that sticks out to me is as Jesus and his disciples were leaving Jericho, a large crowd followed. 2 blind men were sitting by the roadside. And when they heard that Jesus was going by, they shouted, "Lord, Son of David, have mercy on us." crowd rebuked them, told them to be quiet. So they cried again, Lord, Son of David, have mercy on us. Jesus stopped and asked, what do you want me to do? And he healed them. Hey, can I call you back in 5 seconds? All right, love you. So the thing is they were persistent. They were persistent. They were still crying out to God. They just didn't stop. They just kept doing it. Sometimes we have to cry out to God once, twice, 4 times, 8 times, 20 times. God will heal. God will heal. We have to just persistent in our faith. Keep on crying out to Him. I love that part. You know, when people try to stop it, keep crying out to Him. God will come through. He will conquer it. We just got to keep crying out to Him. What specific ways can we use serve people using Jesus as a model?
Persuade people?
No. Can you serve people?
Oh, serve.
Using Jesus' model. Jesus was always saying or doing this is the expected. Verse 26, 28, I'll read it. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become the greatest among you must become a servant. Whoever wants to be first, be your slave.
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you get your tail out of my coffee, please?
What does that say to you? What has he told you that you did not expect?
Good morning, David.
Morning, Dave. How you doing today?
Morning. Good morning.
We're just finishing up. We're just going through the questions, man. How is your sight better now than 6 months ago?
Oh, right.
Yeah, how's your sight? How's your walk with Jesus? How are you growing closer with Jesus?
Well, I think this quarantine's had a lot to do with how much better we've gotten closer with God.
And the last question, if Jesus said, what do you want me to do for you? How would you answer? I'm going to leave you with this because I got an important phone call I got to take. And I'm going to just pray us out. Or do you want to pray us out?
Right. Yeah. Father, we come to you today and we thank you for this Bible study. And be with us while we walk the rest of our day and guide us and show us where you want us to be. And let us take this word that we have spoken in your name, Lord, and let us feed on it. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. You guys have a great day. All right? Let's catch you again. Like I said, you guys got any questions, you can message me. Need prayers.
Well, any of us.
Yeah, you can message anyone. Or you need prayers or anything, let us know and stuff. And or if you just, hey, you want to talk, I'm here. We're here. Message us. This quarantine's getting long, so you might need friends. All right?
Toby does.
You guys have a great day.
Joking.